Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute. I guess I should start with why I was even gone. Again, this isn't ever something that I planned on doing or being. I wouldn't even call myself a YouTuber. I just like to speak my mind. I like to speak my truth, and luckily YouTube's a platform that where I am able to do that. I'm able to reach millions and millions of people through this camera, and I think that's amazing. Where I've been, just trying to live my life day by day. Like that's all I really have to say, but I'm here. That's all that matters. Why I even came back, I was hanging out with my cousin the other day. Love my cousin. And we were talking about YouTube, and I don't know if she asked me how many subscribers I had or if I just asked myself. And I went on my channel and I looked, and I was amazed at the sight of still having as many subscribers as I do. And for other people, you can say like, you don't even have that many or whatever it may be. But to me, like I said from the very first video, if I had 1 subscriber, it would mean just as much if I had 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000. So I'm super thankful for you guys and for not unsubscribing, especially because I've been MIA. I can't promise you that I'm gonna be posting, and I like to speak my mind, I like to speak my truth, and sometimes I like to do it on here, and most days I just do it in person. So that's pretty much it. So to get into today's story, I'm pretty sure I was approached by a sex trafficker a few months back. Why I decided on this story time is because this topic has been coming up a lot lately, especially in my life. I don't know why, and I don't know how, or what the intent of it is. But I'm just starting to embrace it, and I'm starting to embrace that I am passionate about a lot of these topics that concern women, that concern children. And I'm not talking about these things to trigger somebody or to make a joke of it or to take it lightly. I think that my story in itself is hopefully going to be short and sweet and to the point, but knowing me, probably not. But nonetheless, I hope that somebody's able to take away from this. I hope that the young viewers out there, there's so many beautiful girls in this world, and nowadays the younger girls look a lot older, a bit too old for their age, and they're just so beautiful that, let's just say, they can be moving quite fast. And I hope that this video helps to just help somebody else. And again, I am not an expert on sex trafficking or any of those things, so I am a bit informed. So I don't want to speak. I never speak on anything that I am ignorant about. I never speak on anything that I'm ignorant about. Why? Because I don't want to offend somebody. I don't want to have it come off the wrong way. I don't especially want to look ignorant. That's never good. So I only speak on things that I've done my research on, I am passionate about, and I feel that it needs to be spoken about. And as a woman, as a young woman, and of a 6-year-old child, I feel that it's important that I speak on this. So, mind you, I'm a very humorous person. I like to make jokes and things of that sort. That's just my personality. It's how I kind of cope through life. So as I'm saying the story, of course I'm going to joke, of course I'm going to say kind of just what goes on in my mind, like the show Malcolm in the Middle. That's my life in my head. Like, I be cracking jokes in my head all the time, and it just helps to make the story just more lighthearted and funny. So this story time started, I'm 22 years old, for those who are wondering. Again, this was only a few months back. I want to say 4 or 5 months back, if that. And I'm going to try my best to recall the situation and what happened. So pretty much on this day, I remember I was having a bad day. And for some reason, I wanted to go get fruit. So I walked on over to my nearest Vons, which is only about a 7-minute walk from my apartment complex. And so I got my fruit, I checked out, but as I was checking out, the debit card, the chip reader in the machine where you put in your chip to pay, was having a little bit difficulty. So the cashier had to repeatedly ask me to insert my chip and blah, blah, blah. And it was taking up a little bit of extra time. And I nonetheless was kind because I don't like to take out my bad day on people who have nothing to do with it. That's not cool. So I was just like, it's fine, like, don't worry about it. And I kept putting in my chip, whatever. I'm leaving the store. And as I'm leaving the store, halfway through the parking lot, I hear somebody like jogging up behind me. And I'm like, okay. And I believe I had my headphones on, which is another way of me saying, don't talk to me. And he literally gets up to me and taps me from behind. And I'm like, I'm a sassy person. I've developed into a sassy person. I used to be very, very kind to everybody. And not that I'm not now, but you just have to work for it. You're not gonna approach me and just be, especially in this situation, it's just, I don't know how to explain it. So I'm like, yes. And he's like, hi. He's this African-American man. He's probably in his late 40s. He's kind of decked out in like the typical like rapper outfit, baggy clothes. He has chains, his hat sideways, sneakers. Like, he just wants to look hip, you know? And he's like, hey, I really like the way that you handled yourself in there. My name's Lonzo, by the way. I really liked how you carried yourself in there with the debit card transaction, how you were kind to the lady and patient. And I'm like looking at him like, and he's like, but I'm a record producer and I was wondering, do you model? And I'm like, no. And mind you, I've gotten this question a lot in my life by men primarily, and it's normally just a pickup line, believe it or not. So I was not really flattered at that moment. I was just kind of like, okay, another guy being annoying. And so I was like, no. And he's like, oh, okay, well, have you ever thought about it? Have you ever thought about doing it? And I'm like, it depends. I'm like, what kind of modeling? And he's like, for music videos. And I'm like, well, what kind of genre of music? Because now I'm thinking like he's trying to offend me. He's trying to like assume that I'm some girl that just is gonna twerk her butt in a music video and shake it and do all that, you know? And so he's like, oh, it just depends what you want. Like, you get to decide. And he's like, well, normally I have my agents seek out girls who I feel would be great for music videos. But I'm approaching you, which is something that's extremely, extremely rare. I never do this, blah, blah, blah. He's like doing the whole I never do this. And I'm like, not amused at all. I'm just not amused. I'm already having a bad day. And I'm like, okay, you can tell. Like, I felt like he could tell that I was just kind of like, can I leave? And he brings out his business card and he's like, well, I don't want to waste any more of your time. Here's my card. If you have any questions, look me up on Instagram. I worked for, and he starts dropping names of all these celebrities, which I don't even know if it was true. And the main one he keeps dropping is Janet Jackson. He's like, I used to have all these followers on Instagram, but then somebody hacked me. So the Instagram that's on my card, it only has a few, but I'm still legit, like, check me out, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, whatever. Through that interaction, he was not extremely intimidating, and I wasn't necessarily intimidated because I was in a parking lot in an open space. However, as a woman, and I feel like only women can truly understand this, it does not matter what situation you are in, but if a man is giving you unwanted attention and you have really no escape, you feel like you have no way of really getting out of that, regardless of where you are, you do things that you normally wouldn't do because you just are trying to get out of that situation. So I believe he asked for my phone number, like, so that he could contact me. And so I go home. Literally 10 minutes into me getting home, he texts me and he's like, hey, it was so nice to meet you. I can't wait to get to know you, blah, blah, blah. I want to make the story as quickly as possible. So he's just texting me, like, he's trying to be professional pretty much. And I start checking this guy out. Like, the first day, no. I waited like till the end of the week because I just have other things going on. I have a son, I have school, I don't care. So eventually I check him out, I check out his Instagram, and it just kind of was weird because a lot of his videos, they were of like Janet Jackson and like kind of like events that she was at, but it was from a perspective in which he never was in the video. It was just like the whole event. So anybody could have had access to a video like that. I could find a video like that and make a whole Instagram page and make myself look like I've been places that I haven't. So of course I'm keeping these things in mind, but the first red flag that I should have gotten was just kind of his approach. It was just, it felt off. It felt like weird. However, the way that I'm set up, I don't really take red flags that well. So I was checking out his Instagram and I was looking at his comments. I was trying to see if maybe he had any people who he was close with, like was he a social person or was he an introvert, or if somebody is a record producer and works for a big well-known agency according to him, they are bound to obviously have tons of friends in the industry. So I'm like looking and I'm not seeing anything. He just has random little videos, but he doesn't even have that many followers, which is only important because again, he's claiming to be this big shot record producer. So you would think, right? In any other case, I would not care. I would never even look. Half the people that I interact with on a daily basis, I don't even follow. Why? Because I don't even care. I don't care about social media like that. So I didn't really take that to heart. I was just kind of like, whatever. So he's messaging me and he's like, yeah, like I would like to set up a meeting with you where we can talk more in depth about this, where I can show you my contracts and things that I've done with other clients and things of that sort. And I'm just kind of like, okay, well, you know, I have a son and oh, I'm sorry. I forgot a key thing in this story. So when he approached me in the parking lot, I was like, are you aware of what sex trafficking is? Bro, I was like, and he's like, what? No, what is that? And I'm like, where men try, which it can go both ways, men or women. But in this case, I was just trying to like see what his reaction would be. And I was like, where men target young girls and trick them into these type of things and end up selling them. And he's like, I have no idea. I didn't even know that was a thing. And that's when I was kind of like, how do you not know that's a thing? Like, you have to be really, just really unaware of things. Like, I don't know. So I was just kind of like, okay. And then I literally was like, I'm just letting you know right now, like, I'm not the one. Like, I am not the one. If this is a scam or if this is like some kind of thing, like, I am not the one. Like, I have a son. I have things to live for, people to live for, and I won't go down without a fight. And I have no problem like reporting you or any of those things, like releasing your information. And he's like, no, you don't have to worry about any of that. Like, that's not me. That's not what I do. That's horrible, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And again, like how I carried myself was exactly how I was speaking to him. And I wanted him to know that I was sassy, that I wasn't some girl that just you can flatter by asking her if she's a model. Like, you know, I just was like, okay. And fast forward, he's texting me, he wants to set up a date. We set up a date to meet. Now, mind you, he says that, because I also asked, why was he in Ventura if he was this big shot thing? And he said he had his RV because his house was burned down in Calabasas or something. His house got burned down. I don't know, guys. This whole story, I'm sorry if it's all over the place, but it was just, now that I'm looking back at it, I'm just like, you're so dumb. But his explanation was that he had an RV 5 minutes away from where I lived, which is true. There's an RV campsite. He had his RV there because his house had gotten burned down and he was staying there meanwhile. And I was like, okay. And I mean, Ventura is right by the beach. It's a very popular area. People like to come here kind of to get away, to vacation. So I was just kind of thinking like, okay, maybe that makes sense. And so he wanted to meet at his RV. Well, I was pretty adamant about meeting somewhere in public. I wanted to meet like at a Starbucks or at a coffee shop, something of that sort. And he was like, Well, my RV has like a lobby where there's people. He was just kind of like talking up his where he was staying, and how there's like this huge like common area where everybody can just chill out. You're in the public, blah blah blah. And I'm coming out of school and he's texting me this, and I'm just kind of like, I don't want to do that, but whatever. It's only like literally 3 minutes away from my house. It's better than having to go to a Starbucks, like whatever. Another red flag, ladies. Don't just whatever the situation. If you feel more comfortable in a public setting, voice that and stick by it. I wish I would have gone back and just had let it go at that, right? So I meet him at his RV campsite. There's no lobby common area. There are people here and there that are camping outside of their RV with their like little camping chairs and things of that sort, but there wasn't a ton of people around, right? But there were enough to where I was comfortable to get out and just feel it out. And he's like, hey, he meets me and everything, and he walks me over to his RV campsite, and it's like luxurious RVing. It's like nice RVs. People have like literally turf outside of their RVs. It's just like a little vacation spot area. And we're sitting outside on his like patio area. Again, open, it's still open, like other people can see us. And he's talking to me and he's just asking me about myself. And the thing that I just found weird was that he just kept digressing. Like he just kept like coming back to just complimenting me and asking me if I had a boyfriend or if I had like anybody that I was talking to, because a lot of the times it wasn't gonna work if you had a boyfriend, because they didn't like the girls modeling or they didn't like the girls in music videos, and just kind of like saying like it's better if you're single. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm single, like I've been single. And I didn't want to put an emphasis on that because I was just like, I don't understand why that's really relevant. Like if my partner's supportive, then he's supportive, and if he's not, then I wouldn't be here. So I just kind of kept trying to go back to like, what do you do? What's the contract gonna look like? How does the money work? Things of that sort. Mind you, I'm doing this because I'm trying to collect a bag. Like I'm trying to get some money. I'm trying to provide for my son. If it takes off like this actual modeling career, then so be it. But if not, if I'm able to get a few checks from it, then so be it. And so he shows me this contract of his previous clients. I thoroughly read the contract and it looks legit. But again, you can get these things online. And he's like, I'm gonna set up the same one for you. You just have to sign it and blah, blah, blah. And it's like a year-long contract. And that's also another thing that was like, why would I? Anyways, besides the point. So he's talking himself up and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, do you want to go inside my RV to see the plaques on my walls of, it was of sound. I don't even remember. This is how nervous I got once he asked me that. He's like, do you want to go inside my RV and check out the plaques that I have of something, like, and I was like, no, like, why would I care to do that? But he was so adamant. He was just kind of like, oh, like, I promise you, like, I knew that he knew that he had to gain my trust and that I was like very skeptical. Eventually, like towards the end of us meeting, and it was like an hour long of us talking, he convinced me to go in, and I was like, and I let him go first because I was like, you're not gonna clock me from behind. And I reminded him again before going into his RV, I reminded him like, I'm not the one, like I'm not the one. And I said it like that. I was like, I'm just letting you know, I'm not the one. So if this is some kind of weird setup, some kind of sex trafficking thing, I'm not the one. I will fight till the death. I will not make it easy for you, and I will, if I have to, kill you. It's simple as that. Like, really. And he would like laugh it off and be like, no, like I promise, you don't have anything to worry about. And he knew that I didn't really have any close, like I wasn't somebody who was extremely social and had all these people like that were contacting me. I'm a very like, I guess, to myself person. So he starts to, so we fill out the contract. He shows me whatever was inside his RV. He doesn't like do anything to me. He lets me get out. I was still feeling really uneasy. I didn't like that. I didn't like that he kept being persistent. I didn't like that he kept bringing up a boyfriend. And he consecutively just kept bringing up the idea of potentially me and him. And he was like, I don't normally get involved with my clients, but with you, I might have to make the exception. And I was like, and it's sad how often men are very comfortable with speaking like that. Like, why would you say that? I'm 22 and you're like 47. Like, what? And he had a son that was like 10 and an ex-wife and everything. I was just like, and I was like, no, that's not an issue. Like, I'm not attracted to you. And because he kept asking me, he was like, are you attracted to me? I'm attracted to you. And then it would like, he was just all over the place. It was all over the place, you guys. And I was like, no, I'm not attracted to you. And I wasn't trying to hurt his feelings, but I was trying to set boundaries. And so then fast forward, he's trying to get me to see him like every opportunity. Like, he's texting me nonstop. And I'm not even texting him back. He's just blowing up my phone. He's like, hey, we can probably do Tuesday. We can set up a photo shoot. We can do that. We can do this. Like, just all these, like everything that came to his mind, he was typing and sending to me. And I was getting annoyed. Like, I freaking hate that. I don't like to text in general. Well, I mean, if I like you, I'll text you. But, like, in general, I just don't really like texting. And, I was like, you know, what we're gonna do is you can set up a time to speak about all of your ideas, and we can speak over the phone, and we can go over it and set up a game plan. That way we don't have to be texting like this 24/7. You shouldn't be trying to take up my entire day. That's a big no-no, especially when I'm with my son. No. And he was calling me and all these things, and then within a span of like 2 weeks, this was going on, and I hadn't seen him in person. I just kept putting him off because I just had a weird feeling. And he was just harassing me. I met up with him again. And this time he said that he had a photo shoot set. It was going to be paid for. He was going to go with me to shop for outfits for the photo shoot. We were going to get like different styles. And none of these photo shoots were going to be like sexy or any of those things. It was going to be completely like professional in the sense of it was going to be like themed, like dressy ball gown themed modeling, and then like just hipster, laid back, just so that agencies could see that I can mold into whatever type of modeling that they were looking for. So I was like, cool, makes sense, whatever. I'm not sporting lingerie in front of you. I'm not doing any of those things. And I said that from day one. I was like, I'm not doing that. And he's like, that's okay. And so he set up the meeting, or we met, and he was just talking to me this whole time. And this is the fishy part. This is where it gets fishy. So he calls his friend, and his friend is supposedly the one who owns this studio in LA. And his wife is like this designer, like outfit designer, and that she was gonna style me and make sure that I was ready to go, and that we were gonna go to their house first, and he was gonna drop me off, and the wife was going to style me and get me ready, and then he was gonna pick me up and take me to his friend's studio. And I was kind of like, and again, like, I'm dumb for even like allowing this to go as far as it did, but I still was being precautious in my own way, and I'm still being very like stubborn and kind of like just very sassy. And I was like, but I was still trying to be nice because I didn't know if this was legit or not. I was just annoyed, and I was like, you know, as far as the styling goes, like, I can style myself in all the different categories. Like, I'm pretty good at that. That's not an issue. And then he's like, yeah, but she's gonna do your makeup, and she's gonna do your hair, and she's just gonna make sure that you're ready to go. And then at first I didn't like the idea of that, because I was like, well, I don't know who this person is. So then he sends me the guy's Instagram, and even on that guy's Instagram, it was sketchy because he also didn't have a bunch of followers. He had like 20, but he was following like hundreds and hundreds of people. And all of his pictures, like, you couldn't really see his face. It was just like the side. And something was off about him. Something was off. I don't know how to explain it. And so he's like, yeah, this is the guy. So he's like, let me call him up right now to put you at ease, so you know, like, this is legit, blah, blah, blah. So he calls him up, and his friend answers, and his voice is like raspy and like just not inviting. I don't know how to explain it. It was just scary, honestly. And his friend's like, yeah, like my wife is gonna do this, and now you're gonna come to my house. And pretty much he was telling me everything that the guy was telling me, like they had already spoken about this. And I was just kind of like, okay, well, thank you. Like, I guess I'll see you, whatever. So then we, he hung up and we were just talking, and he just kept on hitting on me over and over and over, and just talking and just asking me if I was interested in anybody right now, and things just weird stuff. And I just kept trying to like bring it back to the business part. And again, why I thought it was legit was because also he told me that I needed to pick like a stage name, kind of like a name that I would go by for as a model. And he had like the copyright paperwork to it and everything. Like, I don't know, guys, I'm not savvy in that department whatsoever, but I thought it was legit. To an extent, I thought it was legit. I thought maybe he was legit, but he was just creepy, if that makes sense. Like, he was just creepy. He was a creepy agent. And I thought that's probably common in the industry. My lip gloss. Sorry, the video stopped recording. So we were supposed to do this whole photo shoot and everything the following, like in the next day or two. And I was like, cool, I will drive there and we can do A, B, and C, get it done. And this is just for like headshots. This is just headshots, the first step. And, you know, and then we can get it out there. So he's like, no, I can drive you. And I'm like, no, it's okay. And this was a way of me like trying to be safe. And also just because I did not want to be in a car with him. And I just kept thinking of like him freaking shooting me with a needle in my neck and making me fall asleep, honestly. And he's like, no, I told you from the beginning that this is going to be free. You're not going to have to pay anything. That way, you know, I drive, I use my gas, and I'm your agent, so I have to make sure that everything goes swiftly. And this guy, I have to give him credit. Like, he had this whole spiel down. Like, he made sense. Everything that he said made sense in the professional aspect, except that he was very unprofessional in the way that he was speaking to me at times. And again, I just kept thinking like, maybe this is normal, because how many times have we heard in the industry of women having to put up with pigs of men that don't respect them, and they just have to play it off and laugh and act like it's okay until they're able to get away from them and move up and up and up, you know? And it's sad. And I was just thinking like, this guy is just one guy. Like, hopefully I'm able to like get a contract with somebody else. I don't know. So I was like, no, I don't want to drive with you. And pretty much I just said yes because I wanted him to be quiet. But when I got home, I was going to just ask him for the address, and I was going to say, oh, I just want it so that somebody can have my location. Because again, I'm still making it very known that I don't completely trust him, and that I am aware of sex trafficking or whatever kind of funny business could be going on. And that was my plan, was to just ask him for the address, but actually drive there myself. I leave, and long story short, I just never went back. I'm sorry if you guys were expecting this huge climax for him to freaking put a bag over my head or something, but I'm very thankful that it didn't come to that. I just never went back because I just kept getting this bad feeling in my stomach. I just did not like it. And of course he was messaging me, and he was like, what's going on? Like, he was upset that I was ignoring him. He was just a little crazy. And he was trying to like justify it by saying that it's totally normal for agents to have to be this like involved in the people that they're representing live. Like, it's totally normal. And me, like, I might have been dumb to even gone as far as it did, but I'm still like a very stubborn person. Like, if I say no, no is no. And so I was just like, you know what? I have a weird feeling about this. I don't like this. It's already been too complicated. This is weird. He's weird. It's not worth it. it's not worth it. I'd rather go a different route. If it's meant to be, it will be. And so I just completely ignored him, and he kept blowing up my phone. And luckily my phone broke and I had to get a brand new phone, which he did not have the number to. So anyways, I just completely blocked him out of my life. The purpose of this story was for women out there to hopefully just be cautious, be aware, because how sex trafficking normally works is exactly the way that I explained this story. They present you with an appealing ideal or job or way of income, and of course they probably target mothers or young women, which I am both, and try to get to know them really well, to know if they have anybody that's going to be looking for them or missing them or things of that sort. Try to get to know their schedule, try to get very involved into their lives. As for the hitting on me part, I just feel like if he was a sex trafficker, perhaps he was just trying to really mix pleasure with business and try and dip his toes in somewhere where he shouldn't. And he was just testing boundaries like a lot. And I just kept putting them back up. And I think for women, we should not be putting ourselves in these situations solely because of wanting to have a career as a model or have this type of income or any of these things. And although in my head it made sense because I was like, well, I need to provide, and this is something that makes sense and it sounds kind of fun. And I don't know, I guess I just want to say, like, be aware, because sex traffickers, they groom their women normally. It's not like what you see on the movie Taken, where it's like very, very rare for that to happen. And it's not like that where they put a bag over your head and throw you in a van, you know. It's normally they get to know you, they try and build their trust, and it can take up to months for some, or it can take weeks or days depending on the person. And then once they have you in their hold and they know that you trust them, they go and do what they want. They instill fear in you, and they instill fear in you. They threaten you and your loved ones and say, you know, if you go to anybody, I'll kill your mom, I'll kill your dad, I'll kill your son, because again, they know everything about you because of how they presented themselves. And they just threaten you, and they instill that fear in you, and they say, you know, I know where you live, I know everything about you. They get these women to do things for them, and eventually it just becomes a brainwashing game to where these women feel helpless and they feel trapped and they feel dumb, and they don't have anybody to turn to. And sadly, that's really the case for hundreds and hundreds of people, and it's getting worse, and the target is getting younger and younger. And this is why I'm making this video, is because you might think that that was just an innocent conversation, that was just an innocent interaction, but nothing about that felt right. The entire time, my intuition, my gut was just telling me, like, no, Marisol, like, don't do it, no lo hagas. I didn't tell anybody about what was going on except for one of my friends. I briefly mentioned it to her, and I didn't want to go into depth because I didn't want to kind of like speak too soon and then just make myself look dumb or block my blessings, and again, speak too soon and not have it go through and then have me be disappointed. I've learned to just stay quiet until your blessings actually happen, and then you can speak on them. So I had told one friend about it, and again, it was very brief. However, I did tell her where I was meeting up with him, which was the RV site. But if I did plan on actually following through with the LA thing, I would have given her the address. I wouldn't have gone. But for those women out there, be very, very cautious, please. Even men, young men. This world is cold. There are very horrible, disgusting people out there that prey on the vulnerable, prey on the weak, and that you are not, okay? We can all learn from this. And as I was recalling this was the first time that I even said this whole story. I felt a little dumb, you know. It's like, wow, like, really? Like, this is, you're dumb. But no, I'm not. Like, I've learned from this experience, and I know in the future to completely shut it down from the beginning or get more credibility from that person. And if they are legit, they should not be putting you in situations where you feel uncomfortable, where you question it so much so to where you don't even want to go, you know? So just be aware, you guys. Be aware that these tactics come in various different forms and various different ways. And what you can do is let people know where you're going, let people know that person's phone number, all of the information that you have on that person, you should give to someone who you trust, who you know, who knows, who's going to care and worry about you in the way that they should. So share that information. Make sure that they're legit. Check them out. Make sure that they're credible. Always be in a public setting if possible. Do not do what I did. If I could go back, I would not have gone in that RV. Why? It would have taken a second for him to, although I let him go first and the RV was little, so he had to be in front of me the whole way. There could have been somebody in that RV that could have popped out of nowhere and injected me with something to make me pass out. It could have gone very, very badly. And a lot of the times I reflect on my life and I think like, wow, I'm so thankful that nothing has happened to me and my son. And when I'm with my son, my alert is on level 100. Like I don't like to be approached by men when I'm with my son. I think it's disrespectful in the way that you do it, at least in the way that you do it. In that way, it's like, no, like, if anything, if this is legit, just give me your business card. I will call you when I have a chance. But when I'm with my son, that's mine and his time. And there are just several different ways that you guys can prevent being targeted, I guess. And it's sad that we have to even do this as women. It's sad that we have to continuously watch over our backs and question whether people's intentions are good. However, one thing that we can definitely do is be aware, talk about it, don't be ignorant, inform yourself. I'm going to hopefully find a website on ways to prevent this from happening to you, for you to be less of a target. Thank you for tuning in. And if you tuned in just to be a hater and hope that something actually traumatic and bad did happen to me, thank you for the view, because it still counts. So yeah, I hope that this was interesting. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.